My children loved her.
She was passionate about her material, and she was passionate about her subject. She loved her students.
Now, we've gotten letters. Stefa changed my life. She taught me who I am as a Jew, despite the fact that I was a hidden child. She gave me an identity.
Being involved in SAR as I am, I met many people that were on the staff of SAR. One of the outstanding people that staff was Stefa has.
My sister, Alana, was enrolled here. There was a day where students were told to bring their parents in, and parents got to talk about their careers. And my mother apparently came and gave a presentation about teaching, and so impressed Audrey Shergin, who was a former principal of SAR, that Audrey asked my mother to work at SAR.
She was my social studies teacher. I still remember her Delaney book with the mark grades of all of my assignments and papers. She was an inspiring teacher then.
Her joy of living and her idealism, the humor that she presented, the hundreds of kids who she inspired and motivated.
My son became a history major at Columbia University because of her. And so she was a great influence in his life.
She loved the message of SAR. She loved the sense of openness at SAR. It's just a spirit within SAR that you can feel the second you walk through the doors. Being in this building meant that she was able to do what she loved best, which was educate, and also be there for her family.
9 years ago, I did a presentation about names and numbers to Rabbi Binyamin Krauss. At the end of the discussion about the program, he said that he needs to have a few days to think about it, and that he really needed to identify a coordinator who would be running the program.
There was nothing to talk about. I mean, Stefa was the person to do this. She was no longer teaching a full load. This is a topic that is so important to her.
There's two kinds of projects. There are projects that people work on and labors of love. And this was a labor of love.
When you really love something, you try to do your best.
And this is a school that's so important to her. It was just a natural decision.
As a child survivor herself, I think she identified with the survivors in a way that not all of us can. She appreciated their circumstances and was genuinely interested in getting to know their stories.
She was very, very involved with the survivor community, either on a formal level or an informal level. In the early years of the Hebrew Home for the Aged, we used to daven there for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. So in the early days, before they had a younger crew moving in, perhaps, or a more American crew moving in, everybody was a survivor. And you had to see Kol Nidre, everyone's in a wheelchair, trying to get up to daven, and you had to see my mother's face. She just would say to me, and I remember as a young child, she would say to me, look, and you didn't need words. Our home was always an open door for any survivor and their children walking through the door. And it was a home of laughter. So you think to yourself, how does what you're hearing translate into laughter? These people had the best sense of humor of anybody in any generation, because I guess when you live through hell, you laugh a lot. And they were a riot. Our house growing up, I remember my grandparents sitting with people who came through the war with them, through Bergen-Belsen, who moved to America with them. I mean, we cried, we laughed so hard.
So I think I told her when we talked about this, I think I said, Stefa, this is about 2 hours a week, 2 to 3 hours a week, and it should be no big deal. You know the kids, you know the school, you know the people. You just do a little organizing and working with the kids, and and I mean, for months she was here every single day.
As an attorney, I am constantly tuned into, accounting for my time. I have to do that in my profession. But my mother did not account for her time. And, Names Not Numbers was a project that spanned day and night. She thought about it constantly. She worked on it constantly.
So phone calls, there were a ton of them. Emails, a lot of them. Stefa brought to SAR her passion for the project, and also her vision that she wanted the students to learn about the Holocaust through very different stories.
Thank you, Rabbi Krause. Students. Stefa Hassan, my wife, would be very happy today to see this large elective class of Names Not Numbers. She most certainly would wish to join you and walk you through the steps from beginning to end.
I think that Stefa would be really proud that this program is continuing.
There's a limited amount of time left for us to preserve, these lessons from the past, lessons of tolerance.
She always put tremendous energy and love in this project, even when she was unwell. So she sets a good example for you to do the same.
There's really nothing much further that I can say about her, except that we miss her terribly.
I still miss her.
I could not hope for a more caring and devoted individual to be my mother. SAR obviously meant an incredible deal to my mother, and I feel very fortunate that my children, Andrew, Jade, and soon-to-be Noah, are going to continue her legacy in this school.
It will always have, for me, and I think for many of us, the memories of Stefa will be connected to this program at SAR.